Hello, everybody. It is July 12th, 2026. Hope y'all are doing good. It's been a while since I've done a podcast episode. Today, for the weather, we're sitting at 22 degrees with a low of 11. Woohoo. Um, so, yeah, I don't really have like a schedule set for this podcast. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I will have more guests on, so I'm always excited for that. One of the cool things that just recently happened was I was out the other night, and typically if I see someone and I'm interested, I'll just like have a conversation and like depending on how it goes, see if they want to, exchange numbers or hang out or whatever. And it was really funny because so I was chatting with this person and I said, well, do you want to hang out? And she's like, yeah, sure. And then the question was, uh, what, or something, it was like, what exactly? No, it wasn't that. It was like, so what do you want to do? But it was like an exact question. And I was like kind of jaw dropped because like no one really asks that like that directly. And so I stood there and she gave me space to like answer the question. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like a space to literally be curious and allow me to answer the question. And then so I was like, well, I did not think past that. And she's like, okay, well, like, tell me. And I was like, well, how about I think about it and then I'll let you know. So it took me probably about an hour. And I was like, okay. I was like, and I was direct. And funny enough, she was like, okay, that sounds cool, sure. And I was like, what? But in some cases, like, and the thing is that I was willing, like, I probably maybe thought that I would be rejected. So I'm always willing to definitely be rejected, no hard feelings whatsoever. Like, it's all good. Like, if I'm like, hey, do you want to hang out? And the person's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, on to the next type of thing. And, but before this happened as well, I was in a relationship and it wasn't that great. And funny enough, I have never cheated before. So there's some news as well. But I said to my partner that I wanted to make new friends. And there was this person who was absolutely gorgeous, like just the nicest person ever. And I still know them and everything is still good. And yeah, I went up to this person and I said, do you want to hang out sometime? And she was like, okay, sure. Just let me know when and what you want to do and we'll hang out. And I was like, okay. And from there, it was like this person showed me kindness and fun and like just a different space. And I think, I've had a lot of people ask me before, like they would say things like, well, like, how do you do it? How do you, date the women that you do or hang out with them? And another thing is that like, it's not always what you think that it is. Like, because I could say, like, I could make a list of things that I want and be like, oh, a nice person, beautiful person. And yeah, like, there's so many things coming up, but like, dating someone, once you get to know them, it could take forever to get to know them, but sometimes it doesn't last forever. And that's a thing. So I would say, first of all, get rid of the whole forever thing because it's sometimes things just literally do not last forever and it could last maybe once, you know. But we have these one ring to rule them all points of views, which I find very interesting. Um, and so a couple of weeks ago, this is like really funny. So, a couple of weeks ago, I had plans with two friends to hang out, and it was probably a Friday night. I think it was a Friday night. Anyways, I think it was a Friday, and so the one person cancels, and I was like, okay, that sucks, whatever. And then so I had plans with another friend, and lo and behold, that person cancels too. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, what's going on here? Because story of my life, people just cancel. But get this. I made the choice to be like, you know what? I'm not going to give a fuck. Fuck it. I'm just going to go out and enjoy myself. And I don't care. Like, obviously I care and I'm aware, but like, I was like, I'm going to have the greatest time of my life. So I randomly, it was like the evening time. It was like the end of the day. I got in my car, drove to the ferry, hopped on the ferry, got off the ferry, went to a hotel, and then I was like, I am going out and I'm going to have the best night of my life. And I made that choice. And here's the question. What would it take for every single day, like morning, afternoon, evening, sleep even, to be the best fucking moments of your life all the time? And that's what I'm asking because that's the life and living that I would completely love to have. That makes me thrilled. I don't know what other people are doing, and I'm not interested in if they ain't having that. But so I'm in I'm on the island and I'm like, okay, there's got to be some clubs or pubs. This is a party city. I have to go see what's going on. So yeah, there's this club happening and I had on my leather jacket and I was like, okay, I'm just going to go for a walk. Like, I'm going to go for a beautiful walk and just go to these places and see what's going on. So I get to this club and it ends up like, it's funny enough, it ends up being like a leather night. And I'm like, oh, but I fit in because I had a leather jacket on. I go in, there's not much going on. There's like music happening and people around, but it's not like people aren't really like looking to meet people or hang out. There's nothing going on. And then, so it's probably like, I don't know, 1 or 1:30 or whatever. I don't know when the bars close, and I don't ever really go out. So then I start walking down the main street, and I know there's this cool bar, and I'm like, okay, I'll go there. But they were closing, and I said, well, where is the next best place to go? And they said, okay, go to this bar. It's down the road and to the right. I'm like, fine. So I am on my way. I am just thinking, I'm going to this place. I don't care if I'm by myself. I don't care if I meet anybody, whatever. So I'm kind of just walking along and like there's groups of people everywhere and I see this like beautiful woman and I'm like, oh, cool. Like just for a second, I'm like, and I, in my brain for 1 second, I think, wow, very pretty, like very pretty human being. So then I'm walking and all of a sudden to my left of me, this guy from the middle of nowhere, don't know where he came from. He's very good looking, very muscular, very kind. And so he starts escorting me down the road and I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, cool. So, but then he's chatting with me. He's like, how are you doing? Like, how are you doing tonight? He's like, where are you going? And I say, oh, I'm going to this bar. And he's like, oh, me too. And then I look behind me and that very beautiful woman. So there's a very beautiful man next to me. And then there's this very beautiful woman behind me with like, I think three guys. One guy was her boyfriend and the other two were friends. So she runs up to me and she's like, "Hey, where are you going?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going here." And she's like, "Oh, we're going too." So this hot guy drops back and he goes back with the guys and they're talking and walking. And her and I just hit it off right from the beginning. We're chatting, we're talking, like it's awesome. And then she's like, just the conversation was just the best. It was like we connected so well and it was so much fun. And we go into this bar and it's like, it's funny because the bar was kind of like where kind of everybody goes and it's like really, really busy. And I observed a lot happening around me. So I was very aware of what was going on around me. But her and I basically sat at the bar for the whole entire time, chatting and chatting and chatting. And then here's the thing. She kept complimenting me, but saying things that I was kind of like not really believing her because she was like, oh, Like if I was single, like I'd totally be all over you and I would just love to like, like be with you and take you home. Like she was saying all these things and I was like, okay, like cool. Didn't believe her at all. And then at the end of the night, she was like, so basically, um, we hung out a little bit more and she like took me into the bathroom and that was a lot of fun. And anyways, at the end of the night, I was thinking that I wanted to hang out till 6 a.m. because I love the dawn and I love the sunrise. And her and her boyfriend had to leave and I was like, okay, cool. Like you guys have a good night. I did invite them back to my hotel and they're like, we never go out. I was like, okay. So they left. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to go back to my hotel. And funny enough, that hot guy that was there at the beginning of the night was outside. And he's like, well, what are you up to? And I was like, well, I'm just going to go back to my hotel and chill. Like, do you want to hang out? And he's like, yeah, I could chat with you. So we head back to the hotel. And funny enough, like okay, so everyone has a partner. And he had a partner and he was telling me all about her, showing me photos, and they were going through this like problem, not a problem, but they were kind of like going through this thing. And he was kind of explaining to me, he also talked a lot about meal prep and like how he keeps his physique and everything, which I find very interesting. I love working out, I love muscle, I love weightlifting, I love everything. So, anyways, so basically, um, we are sitting there and he's basically telling me that his girlfriend is very insecure and she needs to sleep with other men. And this guy, he has like his own company. He's worked his way up. He did all the labor. He did all the hard work, and now he's kind of like set where he's running his company and everything. So he's good looking. He's got his own company. He's got his own money. He has a girlfriend. And he was like, and I was like, so how do you feel? Like, how do you feel about that with your girlfriend sleeping with other people? And he's like, well, I know she's insecure and I know it makes her feel better to get attention from other men. And he was showing me photos of her and he's like, I really like her. He's like, I really care for her. And if she has to go and sleep with other people and get validation and attention from other people, he's like, then that's what she has to do. He's like, she comes back to me, she loves me, but so there were some other obviously there were like relational problems, like where I guess she kind of, from what he had said, maybe she gets a little, I don't know, like kind of freaks out and still is insecure, even though he's giving her everything. So kind of like she does these things to kind of yank his chain, and she kind of does things that like she's trying to maybe like cause issues or start a fight from what he was saying. And he's just kind of like trying to tell her, like he's trying to talk to her and explain to her these things. So, anyways, he was explaining to me what was going on. And he was like, if she wants to go and find another man who is better than me, he's like, go for it. He's like, she can go and leave. She can go find somebody else. I'd be happy for her if she found someone else better than me. And I have never met somebody who's had that much confidence. But when I had that conversation with him, something kind of clicked for me because I have seen that sometimes people need that validation. They need to either sleep with a lot of people, sleep with like anyone. They need to get attention. So I've been with people where everywhere we go, they're pulling to get attention from whoever is around. And even if it's just one person, and then pulling and pulling attention and like it's just attention seeking. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like I don't really do that all the time. So it was kind of like, I find it kind of off when people just need like that attention or that sex drive. It's fine. But I'm just like, oh, like it's not like I personally go out to bars and pick someone up every single night or pick someone up at a cafe every single day or, anyways, it kind of changed because yes, I know people who need that attention. And this guy was so like understanding. Now get this. So him and I spend a couple hours chatting till actually 6 a.m. And he's like, well, do you want to go to this after party? And I was like, well, it's pretty like early or late, however you want to call it right now. I was like, what if we get there and it's closed? He's like, well, we'll probably go somewhere else and keep partying. And I was like, well, I just want to go one more place and then I'll stay there and party, but I don't want to go anywhere else. So if it's closed, then I'll come back to my hotel and pass out. And he's like, fine. So we take an Uber and we get to this after party, and sure enough, everyone's outside and it's closed, and they're deciding on where to go. So I say to this guy, I'm like, okay, see you later, bye. And I automatically hop into a taxi and I go back to my hotel room and I'm like, all right. So I just pass out and go to sleep. Now that was one weekend and that was like so much fun because I did not think that I would meet anybody. I had no expectations. I met the most beautiful woman. And then it's not every day I meet like a handsome man who's just really chill, really kind, wants to talk. But it was cool because I love, obviously, I have this podcast. I love talking about relationships and I love like working out, weightlifting. And so meal prep, right up my alley. So then, anyways, so like it was like the perfect night, the best night I've ever had in my whole entire life. Now, that being said, so I love that area. I love that place. I love that city. So that week happened. And then I think it was like a couple weeks later, like not too recently, I had this pull and was chatting with a friend and I said, well, maybe I'll go down there again and go to the city. And she's like, okay, let me know if you do. Like, no big deal. Like, no, like significance, no plans. It was just easy peasy. So I'm like, okay. Oh, but get this. So I'm like, okay, I'll go down. I'll go down for like a night, maybe two. I forgot my credit card. Do you know how bad that is? It is bad. I was lucky that the hotel that I stayed at, I said, "Oh my God, you have to help me out here. Um I'm on your list. Like I've been there before. Please help me." So they did. And so, but then I've also decided to not really drink. I'm not sure when I will again. I'm not sure if I will. And it's like it's not like yeah, like I'm just for some reason I've completely stopped. So that's fine with me. But yeah, so that weekend I was like, well, I will go for walks. Oh, and I still went to like clubs and pubs, but I just didn't like drink. So I meet with this friend and they're like, I don't think they're gonna show up because not many people ever show up. They ghost, they're unstable, they don't talk, they don't reply, they don't do a whole bunch of things. What's going on? This is weird. Oh, okay. So what? Hold on here. So what the frick? Huh. Okay. Anyways, so a lot of people are just like not committed, right? Like a lot of people just do not show up. So this friend meets up with me and they never go out, they never drink. And funny enough, I was like, you know what? I just can't drink because I felt like God. And the reason why I felt like God was because the day before and the day before, I had like ozone and trigger point injections. So I was like feeling amazing. And I was like, well, I'm not going to drink alcohol because one, I don't want to, and two, I feel like God. So, anyways, we meet up and I'm like, well, down the road, there's this club. We can go check it out because it was where near her bus. And she was like, "Oh, I've never been. Let's go." I'm like, "So we go." And then there's a drag show happening. She's like, "Oh, I've never been to a drag show." And funny enough, this never happens. All of the people were hitting on her and like not really me, which is like fine, but I never see that connection. So I was happy for her because I was like, "Oh my God, this is so exciting. Everybody's hitting on her." I was so happy. Like I was so, you have no idea. Like there's not enough words that can explain because typically people don't make those connections. They kind of like don't make eye contact. They are socially awkward. No, they were like, "Hey, hi, how are you?" Like I was really cool. I was like, "Oh, awesome." So that was great. So anyways, that like so she goes her separate way and it was very nice. And so I'm walking back to my room and I'm thinking, "Oh, I wonder if I'll see that guy again." Like, and guess what? I turn the corner and there's this guy, the same guy, chatting with his girlfriend outside of that same bar. And he wasn't like quite getting mad at her, but he was kind of like probably I can imagine that he was saying like that her behavior was not really appropriate, or she maybe did something and he's like, "Hey, well, you don't need to do this." And or he's like, "I feel, upset when you do that." Like I could see this conversation happening. It was funny because he was expressive and she was just standing there like a paper cutout doll. And I was like, wow, there's no expression. And it's like I would hate to be in a relationship. I've been in those relationships where there's like no expression, no communication, no reply, no response, nothing. And you know what really sucks is when you feel like you're alone in a relationship and there's absolutely nothing going on. Anyways, so yeah, so I was like, I'm staying out of that. So I went back to my room. But the coolest thing, and this is just like the bare minimum, not even bare minimum. So the next day, my friend that I had met, we decided to like go out for brunch, and she says, "Can I bring you a coffee?" And I was like, "Yes," because the hotel did not have good coffee. And I was like, just, it was the nicest thing. Not many people do that. I remember my one friend saying, "Hey, Shawna, I have to buy you a coffee because blah, blah, blah." I don't know if it was obligational or whatever, but it was kind of like, it was nice. But this person out of nowhere was like, "Can I bring you a coffee? What would you like?" And I was so grateful. And I said, "Sure, thank you." So she brings me a coffee. Like, I am so grateful. And then we go out for brunch and great conversation, having a chat. And then I go to the washroom and she ends up paying for breakfast. And I'm like, wow, like no one does that. No one does that. So then we're hanging out again, but we're having fun because the city is super fun. There's tons of tourists. It's a beautiful day. There's events going on. There's places to go, places to be. And the sweetheart buys me another coffee because I could drink coffee from like morning to midnight type of thing. And it was so much fun. And the kindness in receiving that, because if you know me, I tend to give a lot. So just like I'm usually the one buying the coffee, but if I have to, which sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, if I have to buy the breakfast, it's so much fun for me to buy everything for everyone. No, it's not. Um, but like anyways, it is what it is. But so I had a conversation with her and so we both expressed gratitude and she was actually in tears. There's a whole story. But yeah, so lately things have been changing and there's this one clearing. I think it is, let me see if I can find it. I think it's like, what are you waiting for that if you weren't waiting for it would set you free? Oh, let's just double. I love this clearing because I'm like, what? It's great. Do 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 questions. Okay, let's find it. Um, oh yeah, here we go. What are you waiting for that if you weren't waiting for it would set you free? And that is really cool to me because let me fucking tell you, I be waiting. Well, not really. I always was told, don't wait, always create. So I will like check in and maybe send a message. If you get back to me, great. If you don't, it's like whatever, like thanks. Like, and there's this TikTok, I actually sent it to people because it's funny, because it's true. And it's this guy that says, he's like, "Hey, honey, I'm working right now. Can't wait to see you later. Love you. Bye." And it takes like 5 seconds to respond. And he's like, "It takes 5 seconds." It basically, if they don't respond, they don't like you. They don't like you. And so, and that, people are probably listening to this and being like, "That's not true. That's not true." Whatever. But again, this question is, what are you waiting for that if you weren't waiting for it would set you free? I decided to tell people to fuck off. Like, I don't give a fuck. I kind of think that this clearing is totally something to run because how many things, like there's so many things that like I don't know, like I could be waiting for that will never show. But I noticed today, like also it's like letting go and not having a vested point of like not investing in the outcome. That's the biggest thing. So I do practice letting go consciously a lot because I'm like, oh, like mate, like the girl who I asked to hang out last night, she was like, sure. But again, people are busy, they have their lives, but I also let go and I don't make it significant. I'm not like, hard up for hurt. Like I don't have hurt feelings or whatever. But it's also it creates a nicer space when there's no expectations. So as I did let go and I have let go, we're now having a conversation. And I'm like, "Oh, sweet, awesome, great." And whatever. Like, it's also looking at like what you would like to create. So I mean, I guess what I'm doing is asking these questions and looking at like what exactly am I waiting for? I also was able to kind of look at what I've already been through and actually make the decision to cancel plans because I know what is going to happen. The person cannot commit anyway. So I said, you know what? Let's just not do it. And the funny thing with this is people just get so upset. Like they ghost, they don't answer, they flip out, they become unhinged. And then then I said, okay, like just maybe block me, like let it go. But anyways, people get unhinged. If there are any boundaries set, like if I say, hey, my bare minimum expectation. So the biggest problem is the expectation or just knowing that people are just not gonna, just knowing that what people are gonna do. But the bare minimum is a response. And if we're making plans, like I guess you can't make plans without a date and a time. And when there is no date and time, I'm like, okay, this isn't happening. So it's like, but those little tiny boundaries that people cannot even commit to, it's like, how do they commit to work? How can they tie their shoelaces? How do they get dressed at all? Like it's like we are zombies, and it's like we're like every Sunday I make sure that I'm off my phone for majority of the day. And one Sunday I forgot because my phone is so cool. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to be on the phone. So, but like I'm working on like, on a certain day, I'm gonna put the phone down. I still have it on me, but like I'm not on it. And then I make that for myself because then I'm not like reaching for my phone and like scrolling or messaging, and I can be present unless I'm really bored with the person in front of me. Just kidding. That was a joke. No jokes on this podcast whatsoever. Anyways, one more thing. My expectations, like I don't ask to go to the moon. One time my friend said that. I was like, if you could do anything right now, what would it be? Like in real time. And they said, go to the moon. And I was like, no, no, no. Like, okay. That can't happen right now, but if you could do anything, what would it be? Go to the moon. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, fine, whatever. Like, okay, you want to go to the moon. That's like, we're not Katy Perry here. Um, and so I'm being a little realistic where it's kind of like, and maybe I just have to let go of like thinking that people will communicate. And also, no answer and no communication is that as well. So sometimes you never get closure. But I know what you guys are all thinking. That's really funny. I was downtown one time and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna try and rent this hotel just to see what it's about and check it out." And I invited my friend and her kid, and I said, "Hey, would you like to come over? Like we can chill, watch a movie, and go to the pool." So she's like, "Yeah, sure." So we made a plan, a date and a time. Do you hear that, people? Do you hear it? Date and time, response, communication. Oh my God. So then with this hotel, I say, so I'm like asking like, so I check in and I'm asking the hotel, like, where's the pool? Where's parking? What are the pool hours? What's the cost for parking? What are the hours of parking? Like, what's going on here? Like, I need all this information. Oh, and on top of that, I accidentally spilled a coffee and I needed new towels. I needed an extra towel. I needed help cleaning the coffee. I needed a restock. And it was just basically like all these things happen. Oh, and then the garbage taken out and all these things. They had the whole day to do this. So I leave because I think I was like working or I had errands to do or whatever. I had something to do. And I come back just before my friend gets there and they couldn't answer the parking question. They didn't know the pool question. They did not restock anything. They did not throw anything in the garbage. The coffee was still there. And I was like, so I told them, I'm like, hey, my friend's gonna be here. I need help. They came eventually. But I was telling my friend all that had happened, and her son says, Shawna, you're not asking for much and you're not wrong. And then we had a whole conversation about that, but I was like, wow, that's kind of profound because how often do we go into the wrongness of ourselves or the wrongness in general? And it's like, I feel like I'm asking for too much. I feel like I have all these expectations that are not being met, but it's like general information that should just be given. And it's funny how people are like, well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Because they can't give you an answer because they either know it and they are too lazy to tell you, or they just don't know it and they're not doing their job properly. But whatever. And it's really funny because every time I would go to a hotel, I'd say, like, so you can request this. You can say, like, oh, I'd like a quiet room with a view. Please give me some extra towels. And do you have a bottle of water? Because it's basic. And my one friend would just absolutely melt down. And I was like, "What's your problem?" She's like, "Oh my God, you're too much. You can't do that." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You can't ask for that." And I'm like, it's not even like I'm not asking for a free room in a fucking rub and tug. Like, fuck. But yeah. So it's like imagine if like I'm not even asking. I'm like barely asking for bare minimum. So what other things could we ask for in life that would create something greater? Like create a reality beyond this reality. Come on, people, wake up here. Anyways, I hope you all had a good weekend and yeah, we'll talk soon.